Okay. Then I'm really looking forward to the next couple of minutes with you because, like you already see here on the screen, I want to share a couple of things, literally what I experienced, what I did, what I changed, and what brought me to where I am. And we had an incredible mastermind a couple of months ago here in Sardinia with my good friend and business partner, Jeff. You already heard him in the sessions before, and also our partners, the C-Suite Network. And after this event, it became even more clear that I'm in a spot and in a place where I always wanted to be, or where I always wanted to get. But the interesting part is we as entrepreneurs, in a lot of situations, we just see, oh my God, we are hustling, we are grinding, we are working so hard. And sometimes we don't even recognize that we are already in a place where it could feel pretty comfortable and where it could feel pretty nice and where our life could be really awesome if we
That's
allow
it.
it and if we recognize it. And I already had two very interesting conversations around what does freedom mean for other people. And that was the
Yep.
first question I asked to my interview partners and to the fireside chat when I was talking with Jeff, Charles, and also Mark. And now I actually want to share a little bit from my background because some of you heard it already. But when I started my first business 25 years ago, I had no idea what I was doing. And I literally just failed forward the first 10 years. And then I started to figure it out a little bit. And I built another company. And over time, I was able to build three successful companies. And it took me 19 years. And it was great. But I built it in a very traditional way. So, what do I mean with a very traditional way? One of my companies was a consulting service company. And I was using keynote speaking to get attention for our topic, to get attention for our consulting topics, to get attention for our training topics. So I was constantly on the road to the next stage, to the next event, to the next location, or to the next opportunity. Because back then it was a no-brainer that when you are a consultant and you're working with big corporate groups, what we are doing, like Siemens, Toyota, the Volkswagen Group, Fortune 500 companies, you need to go there in person, you need to show up, you need to do multiple meetings, and you have no idea if at some point you will be able to close a deal or a customer. So I was traveling 9 months, 10 months every single year, constantly on the road to the next location. And you know what? I love traveling. And it always it also became successful. But on the other hand side, I was always traveling to the next opportunity, to the next event where I needed to go, or to the next stage. And I was rarely traveling with people I wanted to travel with, and I was going to locations where I needed to go and not to locations where I actually wanted to be or wanted to stay or wanted to business. So then something else happened because when 2020 started, we had an amazing, incredible start. But a couple of weeks later, a certain press conference came out and the government announced the first lockdown. And within 24 hours, 19 years building three different companies got destroyed. And the next day in the morning, I needed to go to my team and I needed to tell them, I don't have work for you anymore. And I literally have no idea how we are going to figure it out. So, what was in that moment the hardest situation ever I experienced in my life? Because it literally within 24 hours took away 19 years of building. But what was such a bad start or such a bad situation became the biggest blessing I ever experienced. And I tell you why. Because I needed to rebuild from scratch anyway. And because I needed to rebuild from scratch, I reminded myself, why did I become an entrepreneur in the first place? And one of the realizations was, for me personally, it's all around freedom. So I want to travel, but I want to travel to places I want to go. I want to travel with people I want to go. I want to live in a place where I want to live and not where I was born on by accident or where I just happened to spend most of my life. I wanted to work how I want and with whom I want. And I wanted to experience the full package of life and not just financial success or business success, but then at some point being old, unhealthy, my family hates me, I do not have relationships anymore, my health is destroyed, but oh my God, look at my bank account. Yeah. And unfortunately, I saw a lot of entrepreneurs like that, or switching their significant other every couple of years and then still being super unhappy. So that was not what I wanted to have in my life. And so I really needed to restructure that. And one of the things for me was, okay, these are my core values. And how do I need to build a company around my core values that I can have this type of freedom, what I personally designed for myself? And that's a very, very first important step for every entrepreneur. So if you do not know what freedom means for you, if you do not know what you really want to accomplish with entrepreneurship, please sit down, take a step back, take a glass of wine or a glass of water, or Mark shared something. He's just going to a hotel for one day, checking in for one day, just stepping out for a couple of hours from your daily business and figure out what is it, what entrepreneurship should do for you. Because entrepreneurship is a tool. Entrepreneurship should bring you to a place where you want to go or to a place where you want to be. And that whole concept,
Komm her.
for me became what I call freedom entrepreneurship. How can we have both growth and freedom? Or how I also call it, how can we grow and scale our business without going nuts? And that's what I want to share the next couple of minutes with you. So let me share my screen again here. Good. Here we go. Can you see my screen? Raise your hand or give me a thumbs up or in the chat that I know that you are still here and I'm not talking to AIs here. Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. Yeah. So freedom entrepreneurship, how can we have both growth and freedom? So we really need to think about what is it for me? Do I want to have a business like that, where I'm constantly in the grind, constantly in the hustle, constantly chasing the next rabbit, or probably constantly chasing something what I see on Insta, on YouTube, on Facebook, what probably is not really the right thing for me, but because I constantly see it on this damn phone, I think I also need it or want to have it. Or do I want to have a cool life and something different? So that's actually a picture taken from my terrace here in Sardinia. So you see the picture, what I have behind me as a virtual background, that's what I see outside of my window every single day. And yes, it motivates me more than seeing a city skyline where I grew up in south of Vienna in Austria. Yeah. But maybe you love to see the wood. Maybe you love to live in a skyscraper. Maybe you want to live in on a boat, on a yacht, or on a penthouse. Please, every entrepreneur need to define what does this mean for you. And then you can grow your business around it. And that's what freedom entrepreneurship is about. How can we have both? Or, like I said, growing and scaling your business without going nuts. And I'm going to share the 4 core pillars with you now on how you can build a business that is going to set you free and that you have all the things that you want to achieve in your life. So let's talk about the first pillar. The first strategic pillar is called business architecture. What is business architecture? Remember my story, what I shared at the beginning? I built a company and a type of company where the business architecture did not allow myself to live and stay and travel where I want and how I want. Because I trapped myself on a stage. I trapped myself in the business travel. I trapped myself because I was the only person doing marketing back then. I trapped myself in this position. So a business architecture is like, think about a skyscraper. When you are building a skyscraper, And you probably built the skyscraper because you want to have the penthouse, because you want to live there, or because you love a rooftop bar or a rooftop spa and a pool or whatever. How do you get to the penthouse? First, you need to buy land. Then you need to dig a hole. Then you need to lay a foundation. Then you need to start the first floor and then the second floor and then a lot of other floors before at the end you get to the to the thing what you really want. So the business architecture is something what is either going to trap you for the rest of your life in your business or what is going to set you free at a certain point. This being said, you cannot build a business architecture overnight. It's impossible. Would I love to build it overnight? Oh my God, I would love to have it. Is it possible? No. The good part though is with technology and AI, if you really leveraged it the right way, it became much, much easier. So think about where do you want to be in 3 years, in 5 years, in 10 years? What do you want to do as an entrepreneur? Do you want to travel for business or do you want to be completely free? How much money do you think you need and how big your company needs to be? So there are a lot of questions you should ask yourself thinking about 3, 5, 10 years ahead, and then you can reverse engineer that to start to build the right business architecture today. And then you can start to build the right business architecture one step at a time. So when you are a solopreneur at the moment, you're going to be responsible for everything. The question is, do you want to be there in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, or not? So if you are responsible for everything, make a list of the easiest things you probably can automate with technology, and you can remove yourself from this task. And suddenly technology is already handling this one task, and you can focus on the other things. And guess what? Then do it again. And then do it again. And then do it again. The same basically is when you have team members. So when you have already a team around you, make sure your team is set up for success. And how do we set a team up for success? I give you a couple of examples. An SOP, a standard operating procedure. And your responsibility as the business owner is you need to build this. When you are a solopreneur and you hire somebody, you need to build these processes and systems, and then you hand it over to a new team member, and then you train your new team member, and you at some point hand over the responsibility to your team members. So I hired 3 new sales team members last month, and I'm every single day training and coaching and supporting them to really set them up for success, to really give them the right starting point, and to really make sure that from my side, everything was provided so they can become successful. At a certain point, of course, they need to do it on their own. No doubt about that. But you know what? They already are selling on their own. They already have success. They already close deals. So how cool is that? But it's my responsibility as the business owner to set my team up for success, that I am able to step out of a certain role in the future. So that are a couple of examples around business architecture. And I know there are hundreds more, but if you have questions around that, and if you do not know where to start, please use the opportunity what we shared with you. So just schedule the growth call with me. And if I can put it in the chat one more time, if you do not have it yet, because I'm happy to deep dive into that on how you can build your own right business architecture. That was strategic pillar number 1. So what is strategic pillar number 2? Strategic pillar number 2 is growth and scaling. Growth and scaling. So now you probably ask yourself, hey, but Stephan, how can growth and scaling be a pillar to have freedom in my entrepreneurial journey? I give you a number here. When you really want to grow successfully with employees or team members, one of your most important KPI is at least 250K annual revenue per full-time equivalent. That's the number what you need to hit. And when you as a solopreneur are not able to generate at least 250K in annual revenue, and you think a sales rep is going to save your ass because you are not able to sell yourself, you will never experience freedom. I'm sorry, you will never get there. So first figure out how you can do it yourself. Because you know what? When I hired the 3 new sales reps, guess what they ask? Hey, Stephan, how much do I need to do to achieve XYZ in commission? How much do I need to sell? And when I would have said, hey, you know what? I actually don't know because I couldn't quite figure it out myself the last 25 years. But that's the reason I hired you. So make me successful. That's what unfortunately a lot of people are doing, but that's not how you really get free. And 250K is a lot of money for a solopreneur. And unfortunately, most never, ever get there. Because depending on the country where you are living, and we have people from at least, I think, 10 or more countries are in the call today. So depending on where, on which country you are from, the average entrepreneur is somewhere stuck between 40 to 70K on annual revenue. The average solopreneur. So unfortunately, the average solopreneur is making less money as an entrepreneur compared to what they did back then when they probably were in the corporate world. But now they are free and now they have, okay, yeah, no, they are not. Yeah, so growth and scaling is an important thing. And when I think about 100K 25 years ago compared to 100K nowadays, 25 years ago, 100K would have brought me much, much farther than nowadays. So yes, of course, all this inflation and we hear it and we don't think about it. But if we want to really have the freedom as an entrepreneur, it needs to be clear that we need to grow, because we can take nature as an example. When it's not growing, it's dying. That's it. When it's not growing, it's dying. There is no in between. So when you are not growing your business, and I'm not talking about 10x your business every quarter, but constant sustainability growth and scaling, at some point, the market is going to wipe you out or technology is going to wipe you out. And that's the reason why growth and scaling is one of the core pillars of freedom entrepreneurship. Now, let's talk about pillar number 3. Pillar number 3 is AI as a freedom leverager. AI as a freedom leverager. I love AI. I just love it. But I also see that a lot of people are more overwhelmed than ever before and are more confused and are wasting more time than ever before. But when you figure out how you use AI to your benefits, then that's an unfreaking believable freedom accelerator. Because AI can get you out of a lot of roles and a lot of responsibilities, especially the boring, repetitive ones, what everybody needed to do in the past, but you should not do at some point anymore in the future. So we started to implement AI already 5 years ago in my companies. And the first things where we threw it on is internal profitability, so internal processes to reduce the time and effort, especially in project management, admin stuff behind the scenes, massively. Then we used it for marketing and content creation to make our life easier, and on and on and on and on. So what we what we can do with a very small team. 5 years ago, 10 years ago, we would need to have 3, 5, 10 times the amount of employees. And to give you an example, 2024, we were growing. So my company group, so I'm running 5 companies at the moment. 2 are in the US, 3 are in Austria. My company group grew by 40% in the year 2024. And in the year 2025, we were growing by 33.8% with the same amount of full-time equivalents. The same amount. No more team members, not more hours, not more hustle, just better usage of AI technology and innovation. And when you grow like that, and when you scale like that, but your cost structure doesn't increase or doesn't change significantly, what's happening with your profitability? And suddenly numbers like 250K per employee annual revenue becomes very, very interesting and very attainable. So that's around AI technology and innovation. And the fourth and last pillar is founder psychology. And founder psychology is nothing else than entrepreneurial mindset. And when I started as an entrepreneur, I was actually the opposite of an entrepreneurial mindset because I grew up with a very poor money mindset. I grew up with a very limited risk ability because they always told me, so my grandparents who raised me always told me, don't talk to strangers, don't say something out loud. Everybody with money and success is a person which is not nice and they just stole it from other people. And money is not important and you do not talk about money and all these things. So I literally needed to work harder on my own mindset and my entrepreneurial mindset than on everything else. That's the reason why this is absolutely core pillar number 4. And every person has some type of belief systems in our mind. I hope you grew up with the perfect, positive, encouraging, amazing mindset. But when we take a look at the success stories from a lot of entrepreneurs, we see that most of them did not have the head start. But on the other hand side, I also know now that that's one of the things I'm most proud of because I knew or I know what I needed to overcome in the last 25 years to get to the point where I am now. And I'm not saying this because I'm an egocentric and whatever person, but my good friend always says, it's not bragging when it's true. And I love this quote from Jeff. And that's the way on how I built my entrepreneurial mindset and my freedom entrepreneurship. So I literally designed and created the type of life and companies I want to have, that they bring me to a point in life where I want to be. And that's the 4 pillars. So to wrap this up, just want to share my screen one more time. And then here we go. Pillar number 1, business architecture, to design it around your life. Pillar 2, growth and scaling, because you need to grow and scale, otherwise the market is going to wipe you out. Pillar number 3, use AI. That's one of the biggest leverager you have. And pillar number 4 is the founder psychology, your personal mindset. And that's what we do, for example, here in the mastermind. So in a couple of days from now, next week already, a group of entrepreneurs is spending a full week with us here. And we are going to talk exactly about that. And I mean, next week is a little bit short notice, I know, but we are doing this event again in October this year. And Jeff is going to join me here. And we will have an amazing time and talk about how everybody can build a business that is going to set you free. So just let us know if this is something what is interesting. And if so, just type MM in the chat and we are going to provide you the information. So just type MM in the chat we are going to provide you all the informations about the next opportunities, what we have here. Yeah. Good. Wonderful. Before we start to the next one, that's our gift today. That's our gift. I sell these calls for 660 euros, but that's our gift for you today because you are with us, you take the time, and we really want to make sure that you are going to get the best out of this event. So please, if you do not have taken advantage yet, just take advantage, just schedule that. And think about what business you want to have. You want to be stuck and have a business that does not serve you and that consume your life, or you want to have a cool life what you have. And like I said, I don't know if you want to have a life like that, but I freaking love my life, how I built it and how I can work. And that's what freedom entrepreneurship should be about. Thank you very much.